From the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 until the Civil Rights Act of 1964, African Americans endured prejudice and violent oppression that was enforced by our government. This prejudice was called the Jim Crow laws. Under these laws, Black Americans were treated like second-class citizens. Jim Crow was born in 1836 when white men would put on black makeup to imitate blacks. At the time, white people thought this display and mockery was hilarious. The term Jim Crow was used as an insult toward African Americans. The Jim Crow era was in the early 19th century before the Civil Rights Movement happened. One of the biggest parts of Jim Crow was segregation. Black and white people were not allowed to get married, play games together, go to school together, or even drink from the same water fountain. During Jim Crow laws, you pretty much wouldn't be able to find any place where black and white people were together. They were always separated. Segregation is offensive because it tells the other person, hey, there's something wrong with you and we don't want you around us. Segregation was hateful and it encouraged anger and violence between black and white people in America. White people in America did many hateful things toward their black neighbors, even murdered them, because of their own ignorance and prejudice. Another big problem with segregation laws is that it made inequality worse. In 1892, the Supreme Court came up with the phrase, separate but equal. Basically, that meant that it was okay to make black Americans use separate facilities as long as they were just as good as the things white people were using. It wasn't until 1954 that the Supreme Court made another ruling that overruled separate but equal. One of the biggest moments in the Civil Rights Movement was the Montgomery bus boycott of December 5th, 1955. Rosa Parks, a black woman in Montgomery, refused to give up her seat on the bus for a white passenger. She was arrested. Martin Luther King Jr., a little-known preacher from Alabama, helped to organize the bus boycott among the African Americans in Montgomery. About 99% of the city's black population refused to ride the buses, and the bus company lost thousands of dollars. This inspired bus boycotts all over America. The resistance from bus boycotts, sit-ins, and other events led to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which ensured the protection of African Americans and their rights. The U.S. government also passed laws that made all segregation totally illegal. It was the end of Jim Crow. Some people were not ready for the change, but slowly Dr. King and the brave people who protested for the rights of African Americans were changing the minds of people in this country.